D2 Word Live here with the plum smuggler Riptidz.
No. He has tiny pequeños.
No. That's you. You're the one with tiny balls.
No. You have tiny wiener and tiny little nuts, and you're not turtly enough for the turtle club.
What the fuck's... But, yeah, you lie. But besides the point. But you know, besides the point. Today we are here to review WrestleMania 20 that took place on March 14th, 2004 in New York City from Madison Square Garden. This was obviously a Raw and SmackDown event with an attendance of 20,000, and I believe this was one of the last few WrestleManias to be held in like a smaller arena. Like they would do WrestleMania.
Well, it was held at Madison Square Garden where everything began.
Yeah, and the tagline for this was "Where it all begins again." And being off topic, I think WrestleMania 21 and 22 were the last final two to be held in a regular arena, and then the rest after that to the present day has been in like a stadium.
Yeah.
But so yeah, WrestleMania 20 was like one of the last.
Well, that's because more and more people are going.
So yeah, I'm just stating, you know, WrestleMania 20 was the one of the last few to be in a regular arena.
Yep.
And of course, you had Michael Cole and Taz on commentary for SmackDown, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler for commentary on Raw, and of course, Hugo and Carlos as the Spanish announcers.
Yep.
And you know, they did, WrestleMania opened up with the Boys Choir of Harlem singing America the Beautiful. Then they did their opening package saying 20 years ago, one man had a vision, referring to Mr. McMahon. And, you know, they showed like, you know, the highlights of WrestleMania along with some like individual promos from people competing at this event at the opening, for the opening video package. And then it's like, yeah, and then it's like, and then at the end of it, it's like, tonight is where it all begins, like, again.
Yep.
And it showed, in the last clip showing the opening package was Shane and Vince, along with Shane's, like, son, when he was a infant, standing there, close out the opening shot. Right?
Yeah. Well, it was showing the whole McMahon family and shit.
Yep. Anyway, the opening contest was for the United States Championship, featuring Big Show defending against John Cena.
Which was his first WrestleMania and first title match?
Yeah, this was his first WrestleMania in his first championship match at a WrestleMania.
Yes.
I mean, John Cena had some title matches in 2003 prior to this event, but never was unsuccessful in those.
Yes.
But as referring to WrestleMania, yeah, this was his first title match at a WrestleMania. All right.
Yep.
And of course, this was back when Cena was a Doctor of Thugonomics character, so he came out, massive ovation, massive pop, and he did his whole WrestleMania rap against Big Show.
Yeah, which is fucking sick as fuck.
To kick off the event. And of course, you know, Big Show came out. He was the heel in this, so obviously he got booed, and he's been they were commentators saying no, that Big Show's been dominant since January of that year, and that he's been the U.S. champion since the year prior, which, yeah, Big Show beat Eddie Guerrero to win that U.S. title at the No Mercy the October beforehand, which I know eventually we got a review too, by the way. Yeah, and the big story of this one is like, okay, what does John Cena have to do to beat Big Show here? And of course, Big Show was dominant early on, including catching John Cena in midair when Cena tried to do a cross body, and he just from the top rope, and Big Show reversed into a power slam.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to take note here that the fans are actually cheering Let's Go Cena, which, let's face it, those cheers would go to Cena sucks later on in his career.
Yeah.
Like a couple years after this event. Of course, Cena tried to make a comeback, but Show freaking knocked him down with a clothesline, squashing any momentum Cena had. And then Big Show actually freaking hit a suplex on Cena, taking him down. And of course, Cena ain't no punk. He tried to battle back against the odds, but Show knocked him down with a big boot to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then freaking Cena even gave, Big Show even gave Cena a leg drop across the chest. And then Big Show freaking pinned Cena afterwards and got a 2 count.
Oh.
And of course, Cena did try to battle back, including freaking reversing a power slam attempt that Big Show had into a sleeper hold. And then, but the
whole thing was just basically 2 counts after 2 counts.
Yeah, and then, of course, Big Show wasn't going down to a Cena sleeper hold. Instead, he backed Cena into the turnbuckle to break out of it.
Yep.
And I think at this time, Big Show, also freaking slapped Cena in the chest following this, but then Big Show even gave Cena, but Big Show locked a Cobra Clutch in on Cena, which Michael Cole even referenced. Big Show's doing that. Big Show's doing that move. Shades of Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter here. Of course, Cena came out of it, got out of the submission hold with punches, and then Cena then kicked Show in his knees. That sent Show into the turnbuckle. But before that, Cena tried to get out of it. Big Show knocked him to the ground, and then he applied the Cobra Clutch again, and then Cena did that comeback. All right. By kicking Show in the knees and getting out of it. Sent Big Show into the turnbuckle, and then Cena somehow lifted Big Show up and gave him an FU, and then he made the cover, and then Big Show kicked out. And everyone was shocked. And even Michael Cole was like, I believe Big Show was the first person to ever kick out of an FU. I'm thinking, I don't think that's entirely true, but let's just go with the story here.
Well, at that point.
So Cena was like, you know what? Screw this shit. So he went over to the corner, picked up his chain, and he kept saying that he's going to hit Big Show in the face, but the referee was like, no, you can't do that. You're going to be disqualified. So what did Cena do? So what did Cena do? He tossed the chain aside, grabbed the brass knuckles, hit Big Show in the face, and then gave Big Show another FU to pick up the 3 count and win the U.S. title. Yeah. So yeah, your thoughts on Cena defeating the Big Show here in this opener to win the U.S. Championship?
It was good.
I thought it was all right. For what it was. Obviously, we'd see
one of their best rivalries. Not really.
Would we see better matches from John Cena in the future? Yeah, but this was an all right start.
Yeah.
And of course, backstage we see Jonathan Coachman going into the Raw GM office, which at this point the Raw GM was Eric Bischoff. Ran into Johnny Nitro back there as well. And of course, Eric Bischoff then said, yeah, we've been hearing a lot of strange noise in here. Heard rumors that the Undertaker's here at Madison Square Garden. So Eric Bischoff decided to send Jonathan Coachman to go find the Undertaker. Right?
Yeah, but Coachman never found him. He found something even more disturbing.
Yeah, and we'll discuss that here in a bit. Of course, following that, Evolution, which was Intercontinental Champion Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista freaking talked about their little rivalry with Mick Foley and their upcoming match, handicap match. Basically what that was, showing clips of Evolution beating the hell out of Mick Foley and The Rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is our first Rock back from
Hollywood. Yep. And then we head up to the ring for our next match, which was a fatal four-way match for the World Tag Team Championships, as the champions Rob Van Dam and Booker T defended against La Resistance, which is Rob Conway and Rene DeVries, Garrison Cade and Mark Jindrak, and the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon.
Yep.
This is exactly what you expect. It really wasn't like long. It was there to be there, but we'll go there anyway. Like we said, two guys started in the ring at once, which I believe if it's a fatal four-way, one representative from all teams need to be in the ring at once, but I digress.
It was a sudden death, fatal four-way, but this is why they stopped doing that stuff, is because of how crazy it got.
Sudden death, it's like, there's really no point. You might as well just say the match ends by the first pinfall. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, but this is why they stopped doing that fucking during that year.
Yeah. Anyway, Booker T and Rene DeVries were the freaking legal man to start with, which Booker T got the advantage on DeVries, and then Rene then freaking tagged in Bubba in the corner after getting beaten for a bit. I'm just going to go through this briefly. And then freaking Bubba
Rob Conway got in there at some fucking point.
Yeah. Of course, as soon as Bubba got tagged in, the crowd started chanting, "We want tables," and then you realize, that ain't going to happen. The Dudleys get the table and actually use it. What do you do then? You can't just, wait a minute, there's no disqualification in a four-way anyway, so, right?
No.
But, the tables never came out anyway. And, of course, the Dudley Boys are both from New York. And Bubba actually hit a neck breaker on Booker, and then Booker came back with a sidekick. Of course, the ref got distracted. Of course he did. Devon then ran in on Booker and hit a suplex on him, but then RVD came in, nailed freaking Devon with a leaping kick from the top rope. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then freaking, then Cade, and then they worked on Booker, and so did La Resistance, and then Conway actually tagged in. Really slowed things down with a knee to the back submission of Booker here, wearing him down. And then, of course, Booker got out of it with a spine buster to Conway, which looked like it really totally knocked the wind out of Conway here. Either that or it was really good selling, convincing. Right? And then RVD got a hot tag in and nailed everyone on the barricade. Nailed everyone from the barricade with kicks. And pretty much and then he knocked everyone down, attacking everyone. And then Van Dam went to go hit his 5-star, went to go hit the frog splash, but freaking Devon shoved him off the top. And then after that, it was just intense chaos between all men. And the Dudleys even went for a 3D on Booker, but Conway prevented it by hitting Bubba out of the ring. Of course, so Devon just ended up hitting a flapjack on a Booker instead. But then Conway hit a DDT on Devon, sting him out. And then Booker then came in, hit an axe kick on Conway, and then RVD then went to the top rope again and hit a frog splash on Conway to get the win. And to retain the World Tag Team titles.
Yep.
So your thoughts on this relatively short fatal four-way tag match that Booker T and RVD won to retain their tag team championships here?
It was good.
And you know what's funny? There was some people, most notably Devon, who never legally got tagged into the match. Either, that's how quick the whole thing went. Of course, but knowing that this was like a 12-match card, I can see why these matches were short in length for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was an alright match. I mean, It could have been longer. Could have been longer, but yeah, big match card, big WrestleMania. No wonder freaking some of those matches are shorter compared to others. Right?
Yep.
So that really doesn't hurt it knowing that. Of course, after the match, we go backstage again where Jonathan Coachman is trying to find The Undertaker. Of course, he found something else instead.
So Mean Gene Okerlund, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yes, he found Mean Gene Okerlund and Bobby the Brain Heenan, who was like, I guess in like this closet area.
They came from the back area behind a door together.
With like freaking goddamn lipstick marks all over them. And even Jonathan Coachman was like, you two were just, they were like saying, no, we were playing poker. You two were just, I want to know what the hell's going on right now. And then, of course, that's when the fabulous Moolah and Mae Young came out and pretty much drug Okerlund and Heenan back in there. Including...
the dearly departed Mae Young, fabulous Moolah, Mean Gene,
and Heenan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then freaking, of course, the funny part was when Bobby Heenan was like, what? I don't want to go back in. I don't want to go back in. I haven't been well. And he just sits there and just shuts the door with his arm hanging out of it. And then,
he's making a big ass scene, and then he's actually just going in there anyways.
And I'm just like, okay. And of course, even Jim Ross came out and was like, well, I guess that's one form of love, but here's another love triangle that's gone wrong, talking about the next match we're going into between Chris Jericho and Christian here. And of course, they showed the highlight package, and I really hate to say this, but this whole love triangle with Jericho, Christian, and Trish really started out, it's like, oh yeah, Jericho and Christian made a bet. With Jericho saying, I can nail Trish before you nail Lita, Christian. I'm like, yeah, sorry, Christian won that battle. Is that bad that I freaking thought that?
Yeah.
Only because of what Lita would do with Christian's storyline, Brother Edge. But anyway, all right. But after a while, Lita was just not even part of this anymore. It was just Jericho and Trish. Jericho trying to hit on Trish, go on dates with her. Pretty much Christian telling Chris, hey, that ain't worth it. Turns on him. Then beats the hell out of Trish in a match, and pretty much that's what set up this feud. Right? Yep. So yeah, Christian came out for his entrance, and before he could even completely get in the ring, his entrance theme was just cut off by Jericho's theme. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And even freaking Jericho was like, see, Jericho's jealous of Christian's good looks. Right? Yeah, and then freaking Jericho was on the attack early on, hitting a back body drop on the Christian over the top to the floor, followed by a springboard crossbody over the top rope to the floor as well on the outside. Then Jericho went for the walls, and then Christian countered it by giving Jericho a back body drop over the top of the floor. It was like back and forth between the ring and the floor early on.
Yeah.
And of course, freaking how Jericho landed was kind of scary too, but anyway, Jericho yanked. Of course, Christian yanked Jericho down by the hair again in the ring. Jericho went for the wall, but Jericho tried to battle back, went for the walls, but Christian raked the eyes and then hit a spinning heel kick and tried to cover pin for a 2 count. Right? And then Jericho battled back with a forearm and a splash of the metal rope and an enziguri for a 2 count on Christian. Just the early action
Yep.
determined this by far as the best match of the night up to this point. Then Christian, then Jericho went for a roll-up, but Christian countered with one of his own for a 2 as he held the ropes. Little heel tactic there. Then Jericho then battled back and hit a Northern Light suplex for another 2. There was a lot of 2 counts here.
Yep.
Then Jericho hit a bulldog and Christian went for the Lion Salt, but missed because Christian got his knees up. Right?
Yep.
Of course, shortly after that, Christian went for the Unprettier, which, as in modern standards, which is now the kill switch. But Jericho countered it. But then Christian ended up hitting a spinning reverse DDT off the middle rope for another 2 count. Right?
Yep.
So it's like, Yeah, and then Jericho then hit Christian with a drop sleeper. And then then Christian battled back, hitting a backbreaker on a Jericho. And then Jericho fought. Yeah, and then Christian went to the top. Jericho went up to the top. And then went to go fight Christian on the top rope. And then Christian countered the attack with a front suplex off the top rope. With a front suplex, Jericho went down. Christian was still up on the top rope here. Right? And then Christian went for a cross body block. And then went for a cross body block, which led Jericho rolling through for a 2 count, right? Zone here.
Yep.
Of course, then Christian decided, you know what? We need to do a good old-fashioned submission hold, so Christian locked the Texas Clover Leaf on Jericho, which Jericho fought out of it, and Jericho got out of it. And then Jericho tried to lock in the walls again, but Jericho got to the ropes, but Jericho would not let go despite Christian getting to the ropes. So Christian wiggled his way to the outside, but Jericho still had a hold of him, and on the outside, Jericho locked the walls of Jericho on him. Onto the floor. Right?
Yep.
Which the referee did is 5 count. Jericho broke at 4 anyway. Right?
Yep.
Of course, back in the ring, Christian was propped on the top. Christian got up to the top rope, and then Jericho hit a superplex off the top rope to both of them. So both were down at this point.
Yep.
And of course, that's when Trish Stratus came out, and of course, Trish Stratus got cheered. She was a fan favorite here in this story, along with Jericho here.
Yeah.
And then Christian got up. Jericho and Christian got back up, where Christian hit a devastating looking DDT on a Jericho. Right? For a 2 count, but it was about that point where Trish jumped up on the apron, and Christian realized she was up on the apron. Decided to grab her by the hair and actually drag her into the ring, right? By the hair. And of course, Jericho stopped that. Jericho stopped by throwing Christian out of the ring. And Jericho made one crucial error here. He went over to check on Trish, right? Who's facing the corner. Jericho was behind her. Then she probably thought that was Christian behind her, so we accidentally elbowed Jericho, which allowed Christian to sneak back in, roll up Jericho, grabbing the tights, and actually got the 3 count here in the win.
I highly doubt she didn't know that he was there.
Well, the story at the time, before what happened, they were saying that, right?
Yeah.
And it was a good match. So before we talk about the post-match, what was your thoughts about this bell-to-bell action between Jericho and Christian here?
It was decent.
I believe it's an underrated gym that doesn't get talked about very much. Honestly, looking back at this, all right? But then, after the match happened, Christian was sitting there. Trish was actually trying to apologize to Jericho, supposedly. And then Christian got back in the ring. was taunting Jericho some more. Freaking Jericho was trying to get at Christian some more, but Trish was holding him back. And then that's when and then when Jericho went to face Trish again, that's when Jericho turned heel by smacking Jericho 2 or 3 times. Which allowed Christian to hit the kill switch, or unpurrier back then, on the freaking Jericho. And then then Jericho and Trish would walk out of the ring and actually make out on the entrance ramp right in front of Jericho. Being like, revealing that this whole thing was a setup.
Yep.
So yeah, your thoughts on that post angle?
It was decent. It could have been better.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, bell to bell was great. Post angle, it's like, okay, it was a storyline progression, so obviously that showed to everyone the feud between Jericho and Christian was not over at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go backstage. Where Lillian Garcia was interviewing Mick Foley, who was talking about this year was his first match in 4 years at this point. And then he was saying he was nervous, he was emotional, and then The Rock came out, pretty much saying, you gotta let the emotion go, you gotta let it go. Then he pointed out the legends that were there backstage hanging out, and then The Rock opened the door. And The Rock,
Superfly Snooker,
Don Morocco, Hurricane, Rosie, and then The Rock.
the late great Rosie.
Yep, and then The Rock opened up the door to the arena, having a shot of the crowd right there, and then talking about the millions. And then
millions.
Yeah, and then the crowd went nuts. And pretty much the promo ended with The Rock saying, if you smell what The Rock, and then Mick Foley said, and the sock is cooking.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I thought the promo was pretty well, making people last minute hyped up for the match they were about to see.
Yep.
Anyway, which brings us to the next match, which was Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista of Evolution taking on The Rock and Mick Foley in the handicap match. Right?
Yep.
And of course, Evolution made their entrance. Obviously, they were the heels going in, and it's not very often. I thought it was not very often we see Randy Orton come out wearing a championship belt, but he had the Intercontinental title around his waist. I think in later years following this, he would every time Orton was a champion, he'd have it draped over his shoulder during his entrance, just saying. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Mick Foley then came out, got a freaking huge ovation, but then The Rock came out and everyone went nuts. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, the commentators had to mention that this specific WrestleMania was The Rock's 8th WrestleMania appearance. And it would be his final WrestleMania appearance for 12 years. Or for 8 years. My bad. All right. Anyway, let's get it on here. Yeah, and then The Rock locked up with Flair to start, followed by a Flair strut, right? Flair Morgan. Yeah. Doing his little taunt here. Anyway, The Rock then hit a back body drop then The Rock hit a back body drop Rick on the floor, and then Foley nailed him with an elbow drop off the apron. Right? That was pretty good. Freaking Orton got the tag in, and Foley also got tagged back in. This was mostly the rivalry between Foley and Orton here.
Yeah, it was a rivalry of Orton and Evolution versus Mick Foley.
Yeah. And then Foley would actually hit an elbow on Orton in the corner. And then the Rock tossed in. And then Orton got tagged in, or Rock got tagged in. Orton was down. And then I guess friggin' referee got distracted with something that Ric Flair was doing, so friggin' Rock friggin' hit Orton right down there. So Rock ended up hitting Randy down south, so the Rock was a dick to Randy's Orton's. Alright? Of course, right when the Rock was gonna go for more offense, the Rock pulled the rope down, and Orton threw him into the direction. Rock went flying over the top rope. Right? And then Batista was in the legal man, and then he nailed Rock with a back elbow. Right? Of course, Ric Flair then tagged in and destroyed, and then hit Rock with multiple chops. Right? Of course, Flair did his whole little strut afterwards, and everyone was actually cheering because he was the nature boy after all, despite his heel alignment.
Well, the Rock also did Nature Boy as well.
Yep. But the Rock then came back with a clothesline out of the corner, right?
Yep.
And then Flair bringing Balor back and threw him over the top. And threw him to the top, and then the Rock... Actually, no, yeah. No, Rock went down, Flair went up to the top rope, and then friggin' Rock... Yeah, but then the Rock threw him off the friggin' rope. The whole Ric Flair bump here from the top rope. Yeah, of course, but then Batista got in, but then Foley got tagged in shortly afterwards. Foley knocked everyone down. Foley then attacked. Yeah, then Foley tagged in the corner. Batista just nailed Foley with a hard, stiff clothesline, ending freaking Foley's comeback there. I can't freaking talk for shit here, right? Yeah, and then freaking and then Foley got whipped to the outside, which then freaking Orton then freaking whipped Foley into the steel stairs hard.
Fucking hit him in the knees with the steel steps.
And even Jerry Lawler in commentary was like, that did it 4 years away from the ring. He got reintroduced to the ring. Right? It's like, Jesus Christ, how did Mick Foley not break his kneecaps doing that? Right?
Yep.
It's like back in the ring, Orton was in control over Foley. And pretty much they were in control for a good portion. Yeah, and then the three heels continued to work on Foley in the corner. Foley made the comeback when Batista went for a freaking was pounding on Foley who was ground on the floor, but freaking but then Foley came back hitting a neck breaker on Batista. That's what it was. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh yeah, and I think it was during the beatdown spots where the heels had the advantage where Foley tried to do a mandible claw on the Batista, but Orton broke that up. Right. And of course, Jerry Lawler even said the only thing more dangerous than that freaking naked mandible claw is when Foley puts that nasty old stinky sweat sock over it and then shoves a mandible claw in your mouth. And I'm just thinking to myself, you know what's worse than that? The mandible claw with Mr. Saga over it wrapped in barbed wire going into your mouth. Oh, why does that sound familiar? Huh? Wait until we review WrestleMania 22. Of course, Foley and freaking Batista hit each other with a double clothesline. Of course, Flair got the tag in. Foley came back and hit freaking Flair with a punch and then tagged in the Rock. And then freaking Rock hit Flair down with a forearm and a DDT. And then Orton tried to get in, but he got nailed with a DDT.
Yeah.
Then Rock threw threw Orton out of the ring, and then Batista then came in and hit The Rock with a spine buster. Right? Just putting The Rock down. And then right when Batista was going for more damage, that's when freaking Flair was like, no, let me do it. Let me inflict damage, right? So Flair ended up mocking The Rock by taking off his invisible elbow pad. And it looked like he was doing the freaking goddamn people's elbow, but Flair got a little bit cocky because when he jumped over The Rock, he did his little strut there, but The Rock kept up. And freaking, decked him with punches, putting him down. And then freaking, and then The Rock hit a DDT on Batista and a spine buster onto Flair, which put Flair in the position now for the people's elbow. So The Rock actually hit the people's elbow onto Flair, which included The Rock doing a Ric Flair strut before landing the elbow. So that was funny, right? Of course, The Rock then went for the cover for a 2 count. And then Flair then tagged Orton back in. Of course, then that's when The Rock gave Orton the rock bottom for a 2 count because Flair pulled Orton out of the ring. Or Flair pulled Rock out of the ring. Breaking that up. Oh yeah, and speaking of which, wouldn't it be great to see The Rock versus Randy Orton 1-on-1? The 2 third-generation stars facing each other.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good one, but yeah, I digress. That's just a dream match that probably may or may not even happen, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Flair was going nuts outside the ring, kind of like how we make freaking Matt go nuts on Uno. So freaking Flair grabbed a chair. So the ref went out, distracted him. Got distracted by him on the outside. Then Batista came in and hit a Batista bomb on The Rock, which Orton then made the cover, and then the referee went back in the ring to make the count, but The Rock kicked out at 2. So The Rock tagged Foley back in. So Orton and Foley were the legal men. And then Foley nailed both Orton and Batista with punches and a double arm DDT, taking out Orton. But then Foley decided, I'm going to take out Mr. Socko. But right before freaking Mick Foley freaking was able to put the Mandible Claw on Orton actually hit an RKO out of nowhere on a Foley and got the pinfall win for Evolution. Your thoughts on this match? This handicap match?
Interesting to see The Rock have short hair back then.
I mean, I know we're used to a freaking bald Rock now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the storytelling was alright, and I know this was really, designed for, Foley to put Orton over at WrestleMania, and they would have a much better brawl the following month at Backlash against each other.
Yeah.
Which we'll review when we get to it. Right?
Yep.
Of course, after the match, freaking The Rock and Mick Foley were both given a standing ovation from the live crowd there. Right?
Yeah. We're happy to see The Rock and Sock back together.
Yep. Of course, after the match, they showed, clips from the Hall of Fame ceremony that took place the night before this. And then that's when they cut back, and on the roundway, what they do for the Hall of Fame. This is the first time they brought the Hall of Fame back since '96, that they've been doing every year since. So Mean Gene Okerlund was there inducting every Hall of Fame inductee for the class of 2004, which were Big John Studd, Don Morocco, Greg Valentine, Harley Race, Jesse Ventura, the Junkyard Dog, Sergeant Slaughter, Billy Graham, Tito Santana, Bobby Heenan, and Pete Rose. Right? of course, then we go from the little Hall of Fame ceremony, like talking to the next match. Do we really have to talk about this match? You know, I hate these kind of matches.
Yeah.
Yes. This next match was really for the horn dogs in the audience. 2004 was a different time period. I'm glad we don't do these matches anymore.
Yeah, they still do.
I'm glad we don't do it in modern day WWE anymore. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yes, they do.
When was the last time you seen a fucking bra and panties or evening gown match in WWE? That's what I thought.
A couple years ago.
They don't do those type of matches anymore. But yeah,
they did a couple years ago.
But anyway, the next match was a goddamn Playboy evening gown match. It was featured Stacy Keibler and Miss Jackie against freaking Sable and Tori Wilson here. And you know, the traditional I really hate to say, but the traditional rules of an evening gown match is for the freaking is for you to rip your opponent's clothes off. But nope. It's like, nope, Sable and Tori Wilson agreed to start the match with their freaking night with their evening gowns already off, just wrestling in their bra and panties, which Stacy did that, but they forced freaking Jackie to get out of hers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, this I'm like, this is how we're gonna start off. Okay. Right?
Yep.
And of course, to start off with Sable giving a snapmare, and then a kick to the back of freaking Jackie here. And then Tori got the tag in, hit a crossbody off the top rope onto freaking like Jackie, who at this point freaking tagged out. Right?
Yep.
And of course, Stacy got in there, did her whole like entrance pose there. Ugh. Yeah, and then Tori. Yeah, and then freaking she gave freaking the leg scissors. She hit her leg scissors onto freaking Tori, and then put her foot down on Tori's jaw here. Then Tori and Stacy went to a series of pinfalls, saying that's just for the crowd to enjoy. I didn't really give two shits about it, right? Even Taz, who was on camera, said, "Yep, keep rolling." It's like, yeah, keep rolling. And then Stacy hit a kick to the face of freaking Tori. And then freaking Jackie got the tag back in. And who really cares who the legal person is in here? Then Jackie and Stacy got into like a little rolling cat fight there, which they rolled all over the dang referee. Right?
I wish I was the ref.
Yeah, and then after that brief distraction, freaking Tori went for a roll-up, which Jackie reversed, but then Tori reversed it again and got the pinfall win. After the match, Tori thought it'd be funny to pull freaking goddamn Jackie's panties down a little bit, exposing ass.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this match? Because this match to me sucked.
It was a good match. I liked it.
Of course you would, you single fucking hound dog.
And?
Yeah, definitely would not go back to watch that again.
I
would. But ironically, that is not the shittiest match on this card, in my opinion. Okay, it's the shittiest match, but we'll talk to one that's debatable, could be worse. That sticks more in the memory when it comes to this event. Right? Yeah, and then they showed a little video of the fans talking about, WrestleMania and how much they love WrestleMania, and they were all excited about The Undertaker coming back, whatever. That's not really what we're talking about here. Backstage, WWE Champion Eddie Guerrero was going around, was in Chris Benoit's locker room. Pretty much Eddie saying to Chris, like, no matter what happens, I'll be proud of you no matter what. which fired Benoit up, saying, "Are you talking to?" It's like, what do you mean? You don't believe in me? Benoit's like, "I believe in me. I believe in me. You won."
Well, there he was saying, "Oh, I believe, but you're no HBK or Triple H," and he's like, "Well, I believe in me."
And then freaking Benoit went to state to Eddie during that little round, "I'm proud you won your WWE title, but tonight is my night. My night, because I believe." And then Eddie Guerrero was like, so very much saying, this is what I needed. I needed that fire to come out of you. This is the Chris Benoit I know that fought me every night in Japan. This is the Benoit I know that could tear Triple H and HBK apart in that ring and become the world champion. Yeah. Yep. And Benoit stated that tonight, freaking Eddie Guerrero, you're going to be walking out as the WWE champion, and he'll be walking out as the new world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
There's a spoiler right there, but get to it when we get to it.
He'll be walking in and out as champion for Eddie, and where Chris Benoit would be walking out as champion.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, up next was the Cruiserweight Open for the Cruiserweight Championship, which saw Chavo Guerrero defend against Ultimo Dragon, Shannon Moore, JB Noble, Funaki, Nunzio, Billy Kidman, Rey Mysterio, Tajiri, and Akio, which would later on to become Jimmy Wang Yang.
Yeah.
Of course, Chavo Guerrero, it was a series of singles matches, and the entry point was determined by randomness, except for Chavo Guerrero, who was designated as 10, right? Which I believe is BS, but whatever, random my ass, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then the match started with Ultimo Dragon and Shannon Moore. Shannon Moore being the freaking being the two legal participants to start off the match. Of course, Shannon Moore's fans, they're called morons, just letting you know. Right?
Yeah.
Then these were relatively short, so it's like Shannon Moore hit a back suplex, then Moore missed a moonsault, and then the Ultimo Dragon hit an Acai DDT and eliminated freaking Moore by pinfall. Jamie Noble was the next one in. And of course, Dragon tried to battle Noble with a backbreaker. Get him down with a backbreaker, but he missed his moonsault. Then Noble hit a backbreaker, and then ironically, he put Ultimo Dragon in a Dragon Sleeper that forced Dragon to tap out.
Yep.
Figure that one out. Ultimo Dragon loses to a Dragon Sleeper.
Ultimo Dragon loses to Dragon.
Yes. And that eliminated Dragon. Funaki was then next. And all he did was try to hit a crossbody on Noble, which Noble reversed it and rolled through into a pin, eliminating freaking Funaki in 8 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and then freaking Nunzio then freaking came in, was the next one in. And then freaking, and then Noble tried to score another pinfall, but for a 2 count. Yeah, and then freaking Nunzio then hit a missile drop kick, but Noble got to the ropes. Noble then sent Nunzio to the floor and hit a somersault dive off the rope. Then Nunzio then tried to get back up, go back in, but Noble pulled him off the ring apron and then got back into the ring himself, which led to Nunzio getting eliminated by countout. All right? Yeah, then Kidman came in. Kidman was the next entrant in here. And then Nunzio, and then, but then Nunzio came back and attacked Noble on the floor by yanking Noble off the freaking, ring apron. And then Kidman then hit a shooting star press from the top rope onto both friggin' Noble and Nunzio.
This is pre-heel
Yep.
Billy Kidman.
Yep. Yeah, and then Kidman freaked back in the ring. Kidman countered a Dragon Sleeper attempt from Nunzio with a backdrop and an Enziguri. And of course, Noel tried to. Of course, then freaking Kidman went to the top rope, and then for a shooting star press, but then Noble went up the top rope, tried to reverse it, probably try to at least hit a suplex on Kidman, which Kidman reversed into a BK bomb off the top rope, and pinned Noble, eliminating him. Right?
Does it make me bad when I heard BK bomb? All I thought was fucking Burger King. The Burger King bomb.
Well, it was a Billy Kidman bomb, but BK. When you hear the initials BK, we think Burger King. So I understand that.
Yes.
And then Mysterio then got in next. Of course, Mysterio was dressed like the Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he nailed Kidman with a dropkick, sending him out to the floor. And then Akio interfered against Ray. And then also out there, and then back in the ring, freaking Kidman hit a BK bomb again onto Rey Mysterio for a 2 count. Mysterio came back and hit a sunset flip with a powerbomb off the top rope. Hit a sunset flip into a powerbomb off the top rope, which took out Kidman. Right?
Yep.
Rey Mysterio pinned Kidman there. Then Tajiri was the next one in. And freaking those two were going at it, and Tajiri quickly put freaking Mysterio into the tarantula. Of course, then Mysterio did battle him back and hit him with drop kicks to the back, and then hit a 619 onto Tajiri as well. Then Akio got on the apron, tried to cheat. Then freaking Tajiri went for the freaking green mist spot into Ray's face, but Ray freaking avoided it, which the mist got into Akio's eyes, and then Rey Mysterio rolled Tajiri up to eliminate Tajiri. Of course, Tajiri, out of frustration, kicked Ray in the head. Frustration at his elimination. And then Cole stated that Akio couldn't get beat due to the mist to the eyes. Right? He was blinded, he can't compete. So that meant that Chavo was the final entrance here, and it was Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero being the last two in here. Of course, Chavo took the advantage on Ray, but then Ray then came back onto Chavo with a springboard Hurricane Rana. Yeah, and then freaking Mysterio then hit a moonsault dive over the top rope and over the referee to take down Chavo Sr., who was trying to interfere at this point, right?
Oh, Ray had kicked him off, and then Ray was going to do the jump over the fucking, but the referees are like, oh, nope, stop.
Yeah, and then Rey Mysterio hit Chavo anyway. Yeah, and then back in the ring, freaking Mysterio tried to do a sunset flip, powerbomb pinning maneuver once again, but Chavo freaking caught him, reversed into a pin of his own. And then freaking Chavo then reached out, and then freaking Chavo Sr. actually held freaking Chavo Guerrero's hand, giving him extra leverage to get the 3 count.
Yep.
So Chavo Guerrero won the match and retained the Cruiserweight title. Your thoughts on this match, this Cruiserweight Open as a whole?
It could have more been on SmackDown like it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this match could have felt like a SmackDown match, but I understand, them wanting to give the Cruiserweights something to do at a WrestleMania. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, freaking... Now we go on to... Oh, my God, do we really gotta talk about this match, too?
Yep.
Anyway, they showed the video package for the next one. For this next match we're going to talk about. And the next match we're going to talk about is that god-awful match between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
Yes.
Yes, I'm mimicking Lesnar from that promo when I said Goldberg that way. Right. course, this all started at the 2004 Rumble when Lesnar snuck in and gave an F5 to Goldberg, which led Goldberg being eliminated. And of course, at No Way Out, Steve Austin gave Goldberg a ticket to sit at No Way Out. We talked about this during the No Way Out review. Yeah. Then freaking let Goldberg attack Lesnar not once, but twice. Second time he attacked Lesnar actually led to Lesnar losing the WWE Championship to Eddie Guerrero. Right?
Yep.
And of course, Lesnar then wanted the match with Goldberg at WrestleMania, which Vince McMahon at first looked like he was going to say no. There's no referee that can handle this match, but then Austin ended up freaking saying that the fans wanted the match, and then McMahon made Austin the special guest referee, and then this second half of this feud just became Lesnar and Austin's feud, which saw Lesnar F5 Austin, and then Lesnar would then steal friggin' Austin's ATV, which Austin got repossession of his ATV after a brawl with Lesnar on the SmackDown prior to this. And so you go. But here you go. But here's a big kicker, though, and this is why this match is controversial here, before we get really into it. Goldberg's contract at the time was expiring. His 1-year deal was expiring, and he chose not to renew, opting to retire from wrestling. Okay, whatever, right? You know what happened, with age, right? Maybe Goldberg felt like he wanted to do something else. Like, a hand in acting and other stuff, which he would go on to do. Meanwhile, however, literally about a week before Mania, Brock Lesnar gave his notice in, saying that he was also leaving after WrestleMania 20. Try to go pursue a career in football.
Going to the NFL.
Try to go pursue a career in football, which those rumors made the rounds, and pretty much everyone shit on this match. They didn't give a crap about these two anymore after. They didn't even give a shit about them at this point,
Yeah.
And have you ever felt disappointed? And before I even talk about the match, you ever felt disappointed, like you see the hype for a match, especially in modern times, you see a hype for the match, you get really pumped for it, but then the match happens and you're like, that was it? That was disappointing. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
You ever feel like that in the current day and age? Well, I bet most people felt like that here that didn't know about the rumors. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, so it doesn't matter. Steve Austin was a referee. He came out to a massive pop. And then Brock Lesnar came out to a chorus of boos because he was a natural heel. Of course, Goldberg came out. Half the crowd was cheering him. Half the crowd was booing him because they knew what was going to happen following this event.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they said that this was a dream match. Yeah, this dream match turned into a nightmare. And the crowd was chanting, "You sold out" early on, but Goldberg and Lesnar didn't give a fuck because they just pretty much stood there and just listened to fans heckle them. They didn't really do anything. They just kept staring down at each other.
Yeah.
And the crowd was chanting for Austin the whole time. And of course, after about 2 or 3 minutes of them just standing there doing nothing, they locked up. No one got the advantage. Yep. And then they locked up again. No one got the advantage. And within the first 4 minutes, the crowd was chanting, "This match sucks." Right?
Well, they just fucking stood there for a fucking few minutes and fucking just standing there doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah. And according to rumors here, I guess Shane McMahon was also in the crowd with the live crowd egging him on to chant, "This match sucks and you sold out." Right?
Yeah.
And then freaking Lesnar and Goldberg decided, let's just go nose to nose and just stare at each other. Yeah, and then both of them did a freaking double shoulder block. Right? Put him down. Then Lesnar and then Goldberg hit a spear. or Goldberg hit a military press into a modified spear. And then Goldberg went for a spear, but Lesnar moved, and Goldberg went clashing onto the floor. And then Goldberg hit 2 suplexes, followed by a patented submission hold. You know what this shit show needs? A submission hold and more stalling. At this point, you think to yourselves, are these two fuckers really just fucking with us and just shitting on the match? Right? Because the fans didn't want to see submission hold or takeovers. They wanted to see 2 big bulls rip each other apart. Right?
Yeah.
But they didn't give a shit about it. Oh yeah, and the fans were also chanting Goldberg sucks, right? As well, despite him being the face, because knowing that they were all going to leave. Crowd can make or break a match. They broke this one, right? Of course, freaking and then freaking Lesnar hit a clothesline for another 2 count. And of course, and then followed by that, the fans were chanting, this match sucks once again. And then Goldberg came back, hit some clotheslines, followed by a neck breaker, and then he hit the spear. Of course, Lesnar kicked out at 2. Of course, the crowd didn't give a shit about it. And Goldberg went nose to nose with Austin, claiming that was a 3 count, which Austin said, nope, that was 2.
Yep.
And then freaking Lesnar battled freaking Goldberg back and actually hit an F5 for another 2 count, just like Goldberg did earlier. Lesnar was bitching, saying that was a 3. When Austin said, nope, that was a freaking 2. Then Lesnar got all fucking cocky, tried to end this shit show with a spear of his own, but then Goldberg moved out of the way, which is him freaking Lesnar hitting freaking ring post. And then Goldberg then hit a spear on the Lesnar, followed by the jackhammer for the win. Goldberg won this match, but in the long run, no one gave a shit. So, your thoughts on this match? This shit show of a match between Lesnar and Goldberg, their first encounter that we saw. What?
I said it could have been better.
Goldberg and Lesnar would have better matches, but this was not one of them.
Yeah.
To me, it sucked. Straight up sucked. It deserves to be in the trash bin. Of course.
You say that with every match.
This one for sure. Jeez. And then after the matchup, fucking Brock Lesnar was just, they gave they sang the na hey goodbye song, you know what that is. Which then Lesnar responded by flipping off the crowd and then giving Austin the double deuces, which his prize for that was receiving a stunner. Right? Bye-bye Lesnar. Fuck. Bye-bye Lesnar. Screw you too, I guess, right?
Yep.
And then freaking Goldberg got back in and Austin did the whole beer bash celebration with Goldberg for a time being, which the crowd rejected. And then that same ended with Austin giving Goldberg a stunner. See you later. See you several years down the line, Bill. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that happened. Both of them got stunned, and that's how they left. Their first runs ended.
Yeah.
Of course, they would come back from this. Lesnar would actually leave the WWE, be gone for 8 years, trying out for football, which he failed for that one. Then he would wrestle in Japan, followed by dominating in UFC. And Lesnar would return to the company the night after WrestleMania 28 and started a whole rivalry with John Cena, and the rest is history from there.
Yeah.
This would be Goldberg's last appearance in the WWE for 12 years until he would come back around in late 2016 and actually resurrected this match by having a fight with Lesnar at Survivor Series in 2016, which even though Even though that was a short squash, it was way better than whatever the hell this shit's fire was. Right? So yeah, screw this match. Wish I would have never wasted my time watching it again. Right?
Well, everyone didn't like that match, so.
Yep. But anyway, next up, Mr. McMahon came out and pretty much thanked the fans for their support over the last 20 years. And pretty much thank you for making WrestleMania what it is, and pretty much saying thank you very much. And there was a crowd that says, and I remember there was a sign in the crowd that said, "We love you, Vince." Oh, with the power of hindsight, that is not a true statement anymore.
Yeah.
And of course, following that, that's when they made their little video announcement that WrestleMania 21 would be in Los Angeles, California. WrestleMania going Hollywood. You know, at some point, we're going to have to review that one, too. We got to review pretty much all the WrestleManias. This is like, what, a fourth Mania review overall here?
I think.
Yep. Of course, the next match was for the WWE Tag Team Championships, and just like the World Tag Team titles, this one was also fought under Fatal 4-Way rules. They couldn't think of anything else for the tag division around 2004 at WrestleMania, apparently.
No.
It's like Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty defended the titles against Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, the world's greatest tag team, the APA, which is Farouk and Bradshaw, and the Basham brothers, Doug and Danny Basham. Pretty much, if you really want to, in hindsight, just take what happened during the Fatal 4-Way for the World Tag Title match and just insert it here.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened, but I guess we'll just go through it anyway. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then it's like Shelton Benjamin and Bradshaw were the legal men who started this match. But then the Bashams came in, worked over Benjamin for a bit. Danny hit a jawbreaker on Haas, and then he tagged in Scotty. And then freaking Scotty hit a back suplex on the Haas. Then Benjamin and Haas did their double team move to crush Scotty's throat on the top rope. You know, the double team maneuver they had. It's pretty much wild back and forth. Yep.
No.
And then the Bashams freaking got in, worked over Scotty. And at this point, at least they were trying to tell a story, trying to prevent Scotty from making the tag. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, eventually Scotty did make the hot tag to Rikishi. And then Rikishi knocked everyone down, and he hit a DDT on Danny Basham here, and then Shelton Benjamin tried to freaking do a suplex on freaking Rikishi. You can't do that, but then all Rikishi did was just knock him with his huge ass out of the ring. And he gave a stink face to Haas in the corner. And then Bradshaw freaking kicked Rikishi down hard. Then Bradshaw hit a fallaway slam on the Doug Basham onto the outside of the ring, sending him over the top rope. And then Basham then crashed into Haas and Benjamin on the floor on the landing here. Yeah, and then Bradshaw then hit a clothesline from hell on one of the Basham brothers, I think. Of course, then he went to go do one on
Danny, Doug.
Yeah. Then freaking, Bradshaw tried to go and hit a clothesline from hell onto Rikishi, who reversed it with a Samoan drop, sending Bradshaw down. And then Rikishi, all he did was simply walk over to Danny Basham, who was down from a clothesline from hell, and then sat on him, applying all of his weight on Danny's chest, and won the match that way. So Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi won to retain the titles here. To retain the WWE Tag Team Championships here. Your thoughts on this Fatal 4-Way match? Pretty much with the same formula as the first one, basically.
No, like I said, they could have done it on SmackDown or Raw.
Yeah. I thought it was alright. It seemed average. It pretty much was a copy and paste of the first Fatal 4-Way match we seen.
Yeah.
Of course, after the match, Scotty did the worm, and then freaking Rikishi and Scotty then did their little dance in the ring. Right?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of average, though. So they could have just done it on SmackDown, like you said.
Yeah.
Of course, then they, and of course, following that, they did show a little video for Edge, who was making his return after a year on the shelf due to that neck injury that we alluded to during the 2003 No Way Out review, which he would return like 2 weeks after this during the draft that they had in 2004. And of course, here's where things may get a little controversial. And I ain't trying to fucking cause any controversies. That's not my intent here. But here's where Jesse Ventura came out. And he was like, you know what? And Jesse Ventura stated, what would WrestleMania be if Jesse the Body Ventura didn't come out here to do an interview with somebody? And my thought was actually good. Is that bad? That was my first thought.
Back in the day.
That was my first thought, but sorry. And then Jesse Ventura went around and goes, who am I going to interview out here? Who is it? And he goes, oh, right here in the front row.
It's Donald Trump, our next president.
Yeah.
Yes.
I swear to God, if we could see the dislikes on each video now, this video would get a bunch of dislikes just for that, but
no, I like it even more because it literally showed that Trump was there. He was the host of WrestleMania 4 and 5, so 2 different WrestleManias back to back.
So yeah, Donald Trump was the host of WrestleMania 4 and 5. Jesse Ventura actually mentioned that, right?
Yes.
And then Jesse Ventura even said, what does WrestleMania...
Then he was asking, if I went back into politics, and if, and only if, would you give me full support and financial aid? He's like, yes.
You know that.
And then Jesse's like, well, we need a wrestler for 2005.
Or 2008.
Or 2008.
Which, ironically, did not happen. Instead, we got someone else as president in 2008. And ironically,
Bush.
the billionaire... No, that was Obama winning that one.
Well.
And then, ironically, the billionaire that Jesse Ventura ended up freaking interviewing here back in 2004 would actually go on to be the president not once, but twice.
Yes. Trump all the way. Trump all the way.
Dislikes and angry comments all the way on this video now.
I don't care.
I'm just taking the piss out of it at this point. That's all I really can do. That's all I really can do. But anyway.
Well, we have Trump 2 different fucking terms.
Yeah, I know it's history making, but I'd rather. But let's just move on. I think we already treaded those dangerous waters as it is.
No. Yeah, but it would also have been funnier if it would have been Trump and Jesse Ventura. Trump would have been running for president, and Jesse would be his vice president, because that would have been funny as fuck.
I would have been like the prophecy came true. But anyway, moving on. We already treaded those waters as it is. People have their own opinions. Let's just move on to the next match here of this review, please.
And if people have a problem with it, put it in the comments.
And I'll be sitting there just taking the piss and laughing at it. But anyway, next match on this card was for the Women's Championship. It was Women's Champion Victoria defending against Molly Holly with the stipulation being if Holly lost, she would get her head shaved bald.
Yeah. Well, that's because Molly Holly kept fucking attacking Victoria and asking for title match after title match after title match after title match after title match.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and then the match started after the entrances, they announced on the women's championship match. It's like Molly started out as the aggressor between the two, pretty much trying to freaking go on offense quick. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, Victoria was able to freaking roll her up in that by rolling her up for a 2 count. Then Molly hit a clothesline that sent them both out to the floor. Out to the floor out there. Back in the ring. It's like back in the ring, freaking. It's like Molly hit a suplex and then gave Victoria a neck vice submission. And here's where I'm going to pause for a second. I was distracted by that goddamn commentary that Jim Ross and Jerry the King of Law were doing. That's what took me out of this match. Right? Because, all Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler wanted to do was talk about freaking goddamn panties. And pretty much saying that, oh yeah, we seen Molly Holly wear granny panties. Well, what's that got to do with this wrestling match? And second of all, we seen that in the ring, not in any private environment. Come on.
Right. Was asking, Jerry the King Law was asking, what's your opinion on granny panties?
He goes, you wear granny panties? And then I guess Jim Ross said something like, well, Bertha, I don't wear underwear. And I'm like, you don't even wear underwear? What? He goes, and then Jerry Lawler asked Jim Ross, what's your preferred color? White. Was it silk? Cotton? Come on. We don't need to know this. There's nothing to do with what's going on. And even Jim Ross was like, yeah, I would love to talk about this wrestling match. Can we go back to doing that? I'm like, please do. This is really distracting. All right? Of course, then Victoria got out of that freaking neck vice with 2 clotheslines followed by a power slam for a 2 count. Of course, then Molly dropped low and sent Victoria crashing throat first into the bottom rope, reversing some kind of charge attack that freaking Victoria had in mind. Molly then hit a sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope. But then Molly then got frustrated, went for the Widow's Peak, which Victoria reversed because it was her finisher, into a backslide and won the match. Thus retaining the title, and pretty much with the stipulation being now that Molly Holly has to go get her head shaved.
Yep.
Okay, before we even get to the head shaving part of this portion, your thoughts on this match, bell to bell, despite the distracting commentary?
It was interesting. I liked seeing Victoria again.
Yeah. Of course, after the match, when Molly Holly realized, oh shit, I just freaking lost, right? She tried to run away.
Yeah, well, she tried to use the Widow's Peak.
Yeah.
In which was countered into a roll-up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how Molly lost. Molly
that was her first mistake, was trying to use Victoria's own move against her.
Yeah. Of course, after the match, Molly Holly tried to run off. Victoria chased her all the way down up to the entrance ramp where the barber chair was set up, or the entranceway stage, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then freaking Molly came back out from the gorilla position, attacked Victoria, tried to get Victoria into the barber's chair to shave her head instead, but that didn't happen. Instead, freaking Victoria countered that by spraying like hairspray in Molly's face and then bashing her face onto the chair.
And she found that she could actually latch her to the damn chair.
Oh yeah, and actually no, Molly got her face smashed on the table and then was put on the chair, which Molly then which Victoria then used the freaking straps that were onto the chair and just strapped her in. Strapped Molly onto the chair.
Yep, it was doing one hell of a hack job.
Yeah, and then freaking Victoria proceeded to start shaving Molly Holly's head.
Yep.
Yeah, and this part took a while to do. And then you see, but then Molly woke up. You see her all freaking all freaking out, realizing she couldn't get out of it. She had to face the devil, right? Pretty much bite the bullet and actually get her head shaved, living up to the stipulation.
Yep.
And of course, it was at this point that Jim Ross Jr. goes, no, only one way to get out of it is just take it back to her Michael and Tassia. Which they did, and then they advertised what the next match was supposed to be, which was the WWE Championship match between Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle here, with Guerrero defending the title. And, showing their little feud that they had leading into this match. With, Eddie supposedly getting arrested, Angle attacking him, Angle attacking Guerrero again when his handcuffs were cuffed behind him during a match with Paul Heyman, right?
With the Fat Walrus, yes.
And then the last shot they had was Kurt Angle knocking out Guerrero with the championship belt. That's standing tall, probably what happened on the Go Home episode of SmackDown before this event. But then when the camera... but then after the video, the camera got back to Molly Holly, still in the middle of getting her head shaved bald. It got to the point they were trying to wrap it up quickly when Kurt Angle was coming out to the ring for his entrance, and Kurt Angle looked over there, and he probably thought one of two things: been there, done that, or fuck, I'm having flashbacks. Shit.
Flashbacks of his hair versus hair match with Edge.
Eventually the head shaving did freaking finish up by the time Guerrero made his entrance, so they cleaned all that stuff up, right?
Yep.
And of course, he got the big pop, right? Like usual, right? Of course, Eddie and Kurt Angle started some mat wrestling to start off, right? To start off the match with. Yeah, and then Eddie knocked Angle down with a shoulder block, and then Angle bailed out to the floor. And they were going to regroup here. Then Angle came back in and grabbed a front face lock onto Guerrero, but then Guerrero fought out of it with an arm drag and applied a wrist lock, right, on the Angle. Yeah, but then Angle hit a knee to the ribs and then applied an abdominal stretch on the Eddie, which Eddie countered with a suplex, but then Angle then ended Eddie's
like for the Three Amigos, and then that was countered into a German.
Yep, into a German, and then they fought on the apron where Angle wanted to give a German suplex to Eddie off the apron, which, thank God, Angle powered out of it by elbowing Kurt in the face, right? Yeah, and then and then Eddie then gave Angle a drop kick, which sent him out to the floor again. And then Eddie went to the top rope, and then went for some kind of high flying maneuver, which Angle moved out of the way, and Eddie crashed ribs first into the security wall or the barricade, right? Yeah, and then Angle spent a lot of time working on the midsection back in the ring with suplexes and holds, centering on the ribs, rib holds, submission holds, wear down holds. That type of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and then at one point, he actually dropped Eddie rib first onto the top rope, and then hit a perfect belly-to-belly suplex, followed by Angle, followed by another one for a 2 count. So Angle was on the offense, pretty much. Angle was on the offense for was on the offense for most of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Angle went for a top rope suplex, but Eddie went back up to the ring. Eddie got the advantage, went up to the top rope, which then Angle went for a top rope suplex, but then Eddie shoved him off of it. Then Eddie went for a frog splash, but Angle moved out of the way, right? Which landed Eddie ribs first onto the mat, right?
Yep.
And then it just turned into a slugfest back and forth between the two men with with Eddie getting the momentum here. Back in the driver's seat. Then Eddie hit a suplex on the Angle for a 2 count. Then Angle hit another German suplex. But Eddie countered another one by countering into a roll-up for a 2 count. Right? And then Angle then went for an Angle slam, but Eddie countered it with an arm drag and a head scissors takedown. Then Eddie then hit two suplexes, but Angle countered the third and countered to an Angle lock. Which then Eddie countered it. And then hit a drop kick on the Angle. And then Eddie went up to the top rope, but then Angle popped up and hit a freaking suplex out top for a 2 count. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, out of nowhere, it's like all of that sudden. Yeah, and then Angle went for another Angle lock, but Eddie then freaking turned it into an inside cradle for a 2 count. Right? Of course, Angle, that didn't deter Angle. He was freaking still on the offensive and when he hit Eddie with another German suplex again. And of course, Angle then went for another Angle slam, but freaking Eddie countered into a DDT, putting Angle down. And then then Eddie then went up to the top rope, and he hit a frog splash on Angle only for a 2 count, which shocked everyone. Everyone thought that was a 3 count, but Angle got up, and by the camera angle, you saw he didn't see it that well.
Yeah.
But, Angle kicked out anyway. Yeah, and then Angle was actually playing dead or playing possum, as they say. But then freaking Angle jumped on Eddie with another ankle lock. And, of course, Eddie then kicked him out to the floor. Right? Yeah. Of course, at this point, the crowd was actually into it after not really making much noise starting it off. Of course, then Eddie then untied his boot, probably trying to get some of the pressure off his ankle already. But then Angle got back up on the floor, was looking in the ring, and that's when Eddie gave the oh shit fucking look on his face. And then Angle went charging back in the ring, applied the ankle lock again on the Eddie. Of course, then Eddie freaking kicked at Angle's freaking arm, or elbow or arm, and then kicked his boot off. And after this sort of event, Angle went to go attack Eddie some more, only to get rolled up by Eddie Guerrero, who also had his feet on the rope nonetheless, and Eddie got the 3 count to retain the WWE Championship that way.
Yep.
Anyway, my little description of what happened can't really do it justice. You'd have to go watch this match for yourself, but your thoughts on this Eddie Guerrero-Kurt Angle match?
It was good. Was it their best? No. Did they have better? Yes.
But, was it good? Did they tell their story perfectly here at WrestleMania? Yeah, for the most part.
Yep.
I thought it was alright. I thought it was a good WWE Championship match. Wasn't the best WWE title match I've seen at WrestleMania, but, knowing what we know now, and yes, I am recording this on the 19th anniversary of Eddie's passing, that's why this match will always be legendary to me. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, now we go on to the semi-main, right? Which was Kane going one-on-one with his half brother, The Undertaker.
Just give me a second. I'm back.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, the next match on here was The Undertaker taking on Kane, and this whole rivalry started at Survivor Series when Kane actually helped Mr. McMahon defeat The Undertaker in that Bare Alive match, With the Undertaker buried alive, that put an end to the biker character, or the big evil character as we know.
Yep.
And Kane was all basking about how he buried the Undertaker alive, he never coming back, that he's dead, right?
Well, how his brother betrayed him. He's no longer a monster.
He became one of you.
He decided to become one of you.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the Undertaker coming back really started the teasing at the Royal Rumble when Kane came out. And right when he was on the Dominant Fire, the Undertaker's gong rang after the next entrance was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
And then the Undertaker just kept mentally torturing Kane the whole time with a bunch of trickeries, mind games, everything else, which led to this event. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, Kane came out in the little like New York freaking display during the the New York City video entrance was pretty good, with all the buildings on fire on the entrance ramp, right, for Kane's entrance. And yes, this was the first WrestleMania that Kane competed in after he became unmasked. Right?
Yes, he still had that black towel over his head.
Yes. And then...
Get all the cat food, Jada.
Yeah, and then after Kane's entrance, the lights went out, and all of a sudden everyone heard... That's your cue.
What? Oh.
Well, they heard "oh yes" in that friggin' voice.
Oh. Oh yes.
And of course, then what followed was Paul Bearer coming back with the Druids, right?
Well, you never said which one you wanted me to say. That's why I was like, my Undertaker. I'm like, and then you're like, oh, then well, you can't. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Should have freaking clarified that before the recording, but but yeah, you know what was said.
Yes.
Of course, the Druids came out, right, along with Paul Bearer there. And then the Undertaker's old theme song started playing, and then he came back, and then the Undertaker came out back to his dead man gimmick, which got a huge pop from the fans.
The whole thing was that his biker gimmick was ending anyways, and so he wanted to have it go out with a bang at some point.
Yep. And of course...
So he can go back to his more darker version of himself.
Yep. And, the Undertaker went to the corner, freaking did the whole brought the lights up entrance, part of his entrance, and then took his jacket and hat off in the ring. And then that's when the match officially started. And what's ironic about this is that who did Kane think he was going to fight if he really believed the Undertaker was dead? Did he think he was going to fight a ghost? Did he think he was going to fight a dead, rotting body?
Probably.
But Kane forgot one crucial thing, which all of the Undertaker's opponents forget.
Kill what is already dead.
Yes, all of Undertaker's opponents keep forgetting about that. Right? And of course,
like I said, it does not matter what incarnation of the Undertaker you are facing. You are fucked.
Yes. And of course, Kane was all all freaked out, saying, "You ain't real. You are not real." Yeah. And then freaking he was all sick.
Those punches he felt were pretty real, weren't they?
Yeah, I was about to get to that. Literally, the Undertaker or Kane just kept getting closer and closer to the Undertaker with his arm extended. Couldn't believe that his brother was literally within arm's reach of him, right?
Yep.
But as soon as he touched him, that's when the Undertaker just started striking Kane with all those punches.
Yep.
And going upstairs, downstairs. The only way it stopped because the referee was getting intimidated. Right?
Yeah. Well, the referee wanted it to end, and then Undertaker just fucking walks up like he normally does, and fucking ref just runs away.
And of course, after that, the Undertaker did whip freaking Kane off whip Kane into the ropes, and then looked like he was gonna on the rebound get Kane in the throat for the chokeslam with the rebound. But Kane did a freaking. Kane then freaking just got out of the ring, pretty much saying, "Fuck this, I'm out." Right?
Yeah.
Of course, the Undertaker then freaking went back out and attacked Kane on the outside, which pretty much saw Kane being whipped into the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah.
And then the Undertaker then draped Kane over the rope, which first he hit Kane's throat with his elbow, and then did his signature. The Undertaker then did his signature freaking leg drop onto the ring apron as well.
Well, Undertaker also had to try to grab himself on the top rope when Kane was throwing him out.
Yep. Back in the ring, the Undertaker hit a corner splash followed by a choke slam onto Kane. And then Kane then went for a last ride, but then Kane gave him a back body drop, which, as you allude to, the Undertaker had to hold onto the rope, try to prevent himself from hitting it or being injured. Right? Or whatever it was. Maybe he was supposed to go throw first on the top rope. Maybe it was a botch. We don't know. But then Kane then hit a side suplex. And then Kane then went up to the top rope. And then hit the flying clothesline from the top rope onto the Undertaker. Right? Of course, at this point, the Undertaker was in the corner, but Kane missed the corner attack, and then the Undertaker then hit a running boot to Kane's face, followed by a leg drop. Right? And then Undertaker went for the old school clothesline, or old school on the top rope, which Kane avoided it, right? When he grabbed freaking Taker by the throat, right? And then freaking the Undertaker then grabbed Kane by the throat, which Kane reversed it and hit a choke slam of his own, right?
Yep.
Yep, and then Kane was all like, "Look at your taunting Paul Bearer. Look at your Undertaker now." Prematurely celebrating without even going for a pin. That was second mistake.
Yeah.
His first mistake freaking being you can't kill what's already dead, which prompted the Undertaker to just sit up. Right? Yep. And then freaking and then freaking Kane went back down. The Undertaker then hit a leaping clothesline onto Kane, followed by a choke slam from the Undertaker onto Kane as well. And at this freaking Joe, I was like, "That's it. You got to figure this one out somehow." And then the Undertaker then finished Kane off with a tombstone pile driver for the win to go to 12-0 at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And with this one, Kane became the first person to lose to the Undertaker twice at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Now, your thoughts on this match between the Undertaker and Kane?
It was good. Was it their best? No. Was it a good return match for him? Yes.
I mean, it's not about the match. I mean, their Inferno match that we covered was better than that. But, this was more for the moment, not the match, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was all right. It was an okay-ish match, but they had better matches against each other. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's another thing I liked. Before the match, when Paul Bearer, before the Undertaker even made his entrance, for those who have a king ear on stuff, when Paul Bearer made his way to the ringside, he looked at Kane and the first thing he said was, "You ain't no son of mine." For those who know, you know why he said that. Am I right?
Well, because he betrayed him and shit.
Yep. Talking about the storyline when Kane was first brought into the WWE.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course, the next match we have here, which was the main event, was Triple H defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Shawn Michaels and Royal Rumble winner Chris Benoit in a triple threat match for the world title.
Yep.
And this all came about after this one really came about when Triple H and Shawn Michaels had their last man standing match at the 2004 Royal Rumble that ended in a no contest. Since both men couldn't get up before the count of 10, Michaels wanted a rematch, but freaking Stone Cold came out and said, "Well, Michaels, you wrestled one hell of a match, but you did not win the Royal Rumble, so let's bring the winner of the 2004 Royal Rumble out here." And that's when Benoit came out on Raw, who was a SmackDown guy, by the way, and declared that at WrestleMania 20, he would fulfill his destiny by being world champion. And then, one thing led to another, which set up a contract signing for Benoit and Triple H, which Shawn Michaels came out, interrupted, pretty much super kicked Benoit here and signed the contract himself, which led to Eric Bischoff declaring that the world title will be on the line in this triple threat match for the main event instead. Right?
Yeah.
And pretty much the rest of the story here was Triple H saying, "Oh, your egos is all the edge I need to retain the championship." And Benoit saying, "Well, one thing you and I are passionate about is that Triple H will not be the one walking out with the title around his waist."
Yeah.
Pretty much that was a story they were telling going into here, this triple threat here.
Yep.
Of course, the crowd was chanting, "Let's go Benoit," real loud. Chants we would not hear in the modern day for obvious reasons. I'm just kidding. Right? And of course, this match started off with Benoit and Michaels arguing about who's going to be the one to take out Triple H. All right. First, and then after Benoit and Michaels both started brawling with Triple H, interrupting each other, Benoit actually went for the crossface on Michaels early, but Michaels got out of it, reversed it. But then Benoit threw Shawn into Triple H, sitting Triple H to the outside, or sitting Hunter to the outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Benoit hit a Northern Lights suplex on Michaels for 2, but then Michaels came back and hit Benoit with a clothesline. Then Hunter came in and hit a clothesline on Michaels. Benoit then got dumped out to the floor, and then Hunter hit his freaking running high knee on Michaels, right? Start with this matchup here. So you could tell this was going to be a good one. Yeah. Hunter then kneed Benoit on the out to the floor. And then Michaels then freaking gave Hunter a baseball slide. And then Michaels went to the top rope and hit a moonsault on both Triple H and Benoit on the outside of the ring. Right? Yeah. Which was a good spot to see. And then Triple H wanted to hit a pedigree on Michaels, but Benoit freaking then nailed Hunter with a clothesline, and then he rammed Michaels' shoulder first onto the turnbuckle. Now, that's where Michaels will remain for a good minute. And then Hunter placed Benoit onto the top of the turnbuckle and then freaking put him in the trio woe position by hanging him upside down in the corner, right?
Yeah.
And then freaking Triple H then whipped Michaels into Chris Benoit and got a 2 count because of it. Despite that, and then Michaels then threw Hunter into Chris Benoit in the corner, but Benoit was able to get his boot in the face of Triple H. Yeah, and then Michaels then hit freaking Hunter with a flying forearm. And then the kip up spot. But then Benoit drilled him with a clothesline that sent Michaels to the floor. Right? Yeah, and then Benoit then hit the 3 German suplexes on the Triple H.
Yep.
Of course, back in the ring, Michaels was down. Yeah, but then freaking Benoit went to the... Michaels was in... Then Benoit went up to the top rope with the intention of hitting the flying headbutt on the Triple H. But then Michaels came back and blocked the headbutt attempt by crouching Benoit on the rope. Right? And then freaking Triple H then nailed Michaels with a DDT, which sent Michaels out to the floor again. Then Triple H came back, focused his attention on Benoit, and then hit a freaking superplex on a Benoit from the top rope for a 2 count. And of course, after a little bit of back and forth following that, Benoit didn't manage to put Triple H into the crossface, but that submission attempt got broken up by Shawn. Right?
Submission, beatdown, submission, beatdown, submission, beatdown.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this was in the early going. Then Michaels didn't hit a German suplex, but tried to hit a German suplex, but Benoit countered it for 3 German suplexes of his own. Then he nailed Michaels with a top rope headbutt for a 2 count. Right? And then Michaels didn't hit a flying Then Michaels did battle back when he hit a flying forearm to Benoit that knocked him out to the floor. Right? Then Michaels got up again and knocked Hunter down, and went on the attack with Triple H with a couple of clotheslines, followed by a body slam. Right? And with Triple H down, Michaels went up to the top rope and hit that flying elbow off the top rope onto Benoit. Or not Benoit, Hunter, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
It was either one of them.
Yeah, then freaking Michaels then would hit the super kick on the Triple H and went for the pinfall, but only got 2 count because Benoit literally pulled Triple H out of the ring to break the count. Right? Which, continued the match for him. Continuing the match, right? And then Benoit and Michaels had fought in the ring, which resulted in Benoit giving Michaels a slingshot into the ring post, which busted freaking Michaels open.
Yep.
Let's face it, you could all see what was coming because Michaels actually freaking bladed before he even got hit in the turn post. Just like
he was already pretty much damaged with a cut already.
Similar if you spot it, similar to what he did at the Babylon 97 when he did that with Undertaker on the outside. You could tell what was going on. But either way, freaking Michaels has been busted open. Yeah, and then Benoit put Michaels in the crossface, and Michaels almost tapped out, but Triple H stopped it when he grabbed Michaels' hand from hitting the mat, and Hunter actually broke up the submission hold. Right? Of course, then that prompted Benoit and Triple H to fight onto the outside, which Hunter then whipped Benoit onto the steel steps. Right? And of course, at this point, Michael was just laid out in the ring, bleeding profusely from the head. Of course, Triple H then cleared off the equipment on the announce table, and he cleared the Spanish announce table off as well. And of course, Benoit and Triple H were fighting on the announce table, and Benoit looked like he was going to go for a suplex on the Triple H through the announcer table. To the Spanish announce table, only for Michaels to show up, stop Benoit from doing whatever he was planning on doing. And then Michaels and Triple H, the 2 former DX members, actually hit a superplex on the Benoit through the Spanish announce table.
Yep.
taking Benoit out of the equation for a little while. Of course, unintentional or not, that unintentional team up or not, after they looked each other in the eye, that Michaels then went back into the ring and pointed at Triple H and said, "Yeah, it's you and me. You want to settle it? Come on, I'm right here. This ain't about him. This is about us." Right? Yeah, and then... Yeah, so Triple H got back in the ring. He and Michaels started brawling, which resulted in Michaels throwing Hunter over into the corner, which sent Hunter doing his famous flying bump over the corner onto the outside that he always does. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, then Michaels got back on the outside and then picked up Hunter and actually freaking threw Hunter headfirst to the ring post, which busted Triple H open. Right? Obvious, another blade job's obvious, but I ain't really complaining about that. That's what they did back then to get blood. Right? And back in the ring, Michaels attacked Triple H with punches and trying to keep the momentum down, but Triple H came back with a pedigree onto Michaels. Right? But Triple H took way too long to make the pinfall, and by the time he did, by the count of two, Benoit literally looked like he got yeeted back into the ring to break the 3 counts. And then it was like, did the EMTs freaking goddamn throw Benoit back in the ring or what? Right? Of course, all 3 men were down. And of course, the chance of Let's Go Benoit picked up again. And of course, Triple H tried to freaking slow Benoit's momentum down by attempting a pedigree on the Benoit, which Benoit reversed into a sharpshooter. And Hunter almost tapped out. And this is the part that got me being like, oh shit. Hunter almost tapped out, but then Michaels came back and actually freaking super kicked Benoit hard, breaking up the freaking submission hold. This is near the end of the match, and even I was like, holy shit to that one. That sounded like it sucked to take. That sounded loud and hard. Right?
It was loud and hard.
And then Michaels freaking went to cover Benoit, only to get a 2 count. Right?
Yeah.
And then Michaels got up and he freaking started tuning up the band in the corner. He was like, thinking to himself, okay, I'm going to super kick the first person who gets to their feet, which happened to be Benoit. But then Michaels went to go give the super kick to Benoit. Benoit ducked and actually dumped Michaels over the top rope onto the floor.
Yeah.
Of course, by this point, a bloody Triple H got back up. Freaking tried to hit a freaking pedigree on the freaking Benoit again, only for Benoit to reverse it into the crippler crossface. And every time Triple H tried to get to the ropes, freaking Benoit would pull back on it even more, which forced Triple H to think, okay, if I'm going to break out of this, the ropes ain't going to help me, right? So Triple H tried to reverse the freaking crossface by freaking jumping over backwards to try to reverse the hold that way, but no, Benoit rolled through and kept it freaking hooked. And after about a good freaking like 2 minutes and struggling, Triple H freaking knew the end was done, and then Triple H tapped out, thus making Benoit the new World Heavyweight Champion. Anyway, before we talk about the aftermath, or the what happened after the match, your thoughts on this triple threat?
Interesting. Triple threat when literally Bischoff fucking poached Benoit from SmackDown right after the
Rumble.
Fucking Royal Rumble.
Yep. Yeah, and then, I mean, I thought the match was good, possibly one of the best triple threat matches that I've ever seen that, sadly, today doesn't ever get talked about for obvious reasons. We ain't going to be going into detail there. And of course, after the match, when Benoit was celebrating, WWE Champion Eddie Guerrero came out to the ring and actually embraced Benoit, and those two celebrated as world champions to close out WrestleMania 20. And that's an emotional moment that, hard to watch today, knowing that both men are now gone due to dubious, controversial circumstances. So yeah, that was WrestleMania 20. Now we go to our thoughts and our scores and our final thoughts on this event. So here we go. It's like John Cena defeating the Big Show to win the United States Championship in the opener. I would give that about a 3.5 or 3.5 out of 5.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yep. Booker T and RVD retaining the World Tag Team Championships in that Fatal 4-Way, 3 out of 5.
4.
4, okay. Christian defeating Chris Jericho, I give that one 4 out of 5.
3.5.
Yep. Evolution defeating the Rock and Saw Connection in that handicap match, I give that one 4 out of 5.
4.5.
It's like Sable and Tori Wilson defeating Miss Jackie and Stacy Keibler in that Playgirl or Playboy evening gown match.
5 out of 5.
Negative 4 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Negative 4 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Chavo Guerrero winning that Cruiserweight Open to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. Averagely,
2.5.
You say 2.5. I say about 3. Now let me tell you something. I'm just scoring that match all as a whole, because if I was scoring each individual match, they'd probably be like 0 to a half. Right?
I'd just give it a 2.5 altogether.
Goldberg defeating Brock Lesnar with Steve Austin as the referee. 1 out of 5.
2.
It was like 1. Enough, pretty much self-explanatory why it has that low of a score.
Yeah.
It's like Rikishi and Scotty Duhati winning the second Fatal 4-Way match to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Again, just like the first one, 3 out of 5. You give that one a 4?
Yes.
Ugh. Victoria defeating Molly Holly in that championship versus hair match to retain the women's championship and to shave Molly Holly bald.
4.5.
If I had to be fair, I would probably just give the match a 3, but it as a segment probably a 4, if I'm being honest. So about between 3 and a 4, whatever you want to pick now. Right?
You'd probably give it a 3.5 then.
Yep. Probably about 3.5 for that one, yeah. Eddie Guerrero.
Because that's between 3 and 4, so.
Yep. Eddie Guerrero defeating Kurt Angle to retain the WWE Championship. I give that 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Yep. The Undertaker defeating Kane and to go 12-0 at WrestleMania, returning to the Dead Man gimmick.
5 out of 5.
As a moment, I would give it 5 out of 5, but as a match, I give it 4 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Yes. And this one being the hardest one to talk about, Chris Benoit defeating Triple H and Shawn Michaels to win the World Heavyweight Championship in that triple threat match. I'm sorry, but I have to give it 5 out of 5.
I give it a 4 and a 4.5 because I couldn't decide if it was going to either be a 5 out of 5 or just 4 out of 4.5. So I just went with the 4.5.
Yeah. Because, I don't
because
grade...
everyone's gonna say that it's gonna be controversy. But the thing is, I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it a little bit more. But the thing is, from the whole standpoint, I don't give a fuck what people say.
It's like I said before, I don't grade Benoit matches with a power of hindsight, because if I did, I would just be like, oh, this match sucked. Don't waste your time. Don't even bother watching it. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. But I don't do that. I have to give my honest opinion. If I liked it, I liked it. If I thought it was shit, it's shit. Gotta grade those matches like I would any other match. That's why I say that. That this one was 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Not because of Benoit winning, but because I thought it was one of the best triple threat matches I've seen, and still to this day holds up. That's what I mean by 5 out of 5. Right?
Yeah.
So, it's really hard to recommend any one match from this show, but just put it like this. One match you should never go back and watch from the show was that Goldberg-Lesnar match. But if you were going to say...
Yeah.
If you want to go back and say watch 2 matches from the show, I would recommend the Eddie Guerrero-Kurt Angle match. And, for the moment, I would say Kane versus Undertaker. But if you're someone who can actually watch a Chris Benoit match and not be bothered by it, then go for the triple threat main event as well. All right? So,
yeah.
What's your final grade for WrestleMania 20 as a whole?
As a whole,
yeah,
I give it A.
Yeah. For me, my final grading, despite there being like a lot of average matches and a couple of crappy matches, the three main events, which is the W title match, the semi-main with Taker and Kane, and the world title match, actually do hold up strong when it comes to this event. And because that ending there, I really have to give it an A. Which I know is rare for me to give an A on these pay-per-views, but, that's how I feel about this show. So yeah, next week, that's our thoughts on WrestleMania 20, but for next week, what are we going to be reviewing next week, since next week's is your choice? What are we going to be watching next week for the review?
Next week for the review, we are going to be watching
You're like, I can't decide.
It's going to be another Eddie Guerrero match. I'm telling you now.
All right. Okay, what else is there that we haven't already looked at? That you can think of?
I don't think we watched the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio one yet, where they were fighting over Dominic.
In that ladder match?
Yeah.
All right, so you're suggesting that next week the event we're going to be watching is the 2005 SummerSlam event?
Yes.
Where that match took place?
Yes.
Where it was Eddie Guerrero taking on Dominic Mysterio. Or not Dominic, Rey Mysterio.
I was about to say.
How fucked up would that have been back then? And the winner of this ladder match.
Yay!
And the winner of this match gets to have custody of the most baddest motherfucker on the planet, Dirty Dom.
Yeah.
Back then, he was known as Dirty Kid Dom. So next week, we'll find out here on the review. Will Eddie Guerrero actually get custody of his real son, or will the deadbeat still have custody of him?
Even a deadbeat.
I'm just taking the piss out of that storyline. You know I am.
Yes, I know.
It's like, yep. So until then, we will see you all next week. Peace.
Doses.